Hi guys, David Michael here. I wanted to show you one that there's some controversy on concerning how to use it, why to use it, but everyone's probably heard of it, and that is Echinacea. Now there are two forms, Echinacea purpurea and Echinacea anguifolia. The studies that came out of Germany and Europe all oriented around the two. If you buy Echinacea supplement, there's a lot of it here where I'm at. This isn't in my garden. It's easy to grow, so harvesting it wild isn't necessarily something you have to do. Anyway, the studies that came out of Germany and the studies that came out of Europe all revolved around and favored Echinacea anguifolia over purpurea, but the significance between the two wasn't that different. But when I find this supplement, a lot of times when you read on the bottles at your herb stores and your health food stores for your immune booster that includes Echinacea, it will tell you what part, or it should tell you what part of the plant that is in the supplement you're about to purchase. If it says aerial, or it shows you a picture of the blossoms, according to the studies that came out of Europe, it really is not that good. It's, let's say you take the flower and I take the root. A good analogy would be you have a headache, you take an aspirin and you lick it to get rid of your headache. That is what it's like using the flowers and the leaves as a tea for an immune builder versus taking the whole aspirin, which would be utilizing the root. And the root is really neat because when you chew on it raw, it feels like your tongue is being electrocuted, kinda. It's really neat. And the root is what you want to use. So if you're buying a supplement, find a bottle that says root rather than aerial. And it should have a picture of a root rather than a picture of the flowers. And if you're going to grow this in a garden, which I recommend growing your own Echinacea, you can harvest it whenever you want. Make your tinctures, dry the root. You can do this several ways. I'm going to dig up a root and show you what it looks like, because today I am harvesting Echinacea. And then I will show you what the plant looks like. Now the wild Echinacea will not have a root as big as you can cultivate in your own garden, and that's why I recommend raising your own Echinacea rather than growing or going out into the wild and looking for it. That's a pretty good root ball. Now on the Echinacea, these hairs and fine roots are all part of it, and they will cause your tongue to go a little bit numb the first 2 or 3 times you do it, and then you kind of build up a tolerance. Another thing that I want to warn about Echinacea is that it is an on and off preventative medicine. So when you're using Echinacea, you want to use it to support your immune, but if you take it every day, it will have a counter effect. So you should take it 3 or 4 days on, 3 or 4 days off, 3 or 4 days on. I actually don't take Echinacea until I am in a high stress situation or I'm not getting proper sleep, anything that might cause my immune to start to dwindle, and I'll take it as an immune booster. And I collect the roots, I cut them right here where the plant stalk meets the root base, and I'll slosh them in a colander in the water, and then I'll set them out on newspaper to dry for a few days. And just as they're starting to dry, I create a tincture by putting 80 proof vodka in the jar. And then half of the roots I dry, and I just leave them dry, and I put them in a jar away from the sun, seal them up, and I will put them on the stove and let them simmer for 30 minutes, not boil, simmer for 30 minutes, and make a mouthwash. Now, there really aren't, I'm going to show you this plant here as distinguishing features. This bloom is faded. It's not that purple. None of these are really blooming. But the leaf is really rough, and it is very easy to mistake, for beginners especially, with Rudbeckia or Black-Eyed Susan or a few other species. And that is another reason, this one hasn't bloomed yet, but the flower head's starting. Another reason that I would suggest growing it in the garden is because it's not an easy plant to identify unless it is blooming for beginning foragers. If we look down at these larger leaves, this has no flower stalk, and this is Echinacea. Now, in and among some of these plants, you'll find Rudbeckia as well, and Rudbeckia is easy to mistake for it. So if you're going to buy the supplement, guys, I recommend you read the bottle and make sure you get the root. If you're going to grow your own, cut it right here at the base of the stalk on its second year growth, and you can do this all year long. There is no exact time or better time to harvest it. Spring, summer, fall, it's fine. Dry your roots, put them on the stove to steep, or you can dry your roots for 1 or 2 days, fill a mason jar, pour 80 to 100 proof vodka in it, and let it set for 8 weeks. And that makes a great tincture. Happy foraging, guys. If you like these videos, please hit the like button. If you want to see more made like it, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified to any of the new videos that Dawn and I decide to upload through the season of harvest that we're going to do this year, please hit the bell icon and you'll be notified. Happy foraging, guys.